There are a couple of what I call special letters in Sanskrit. The first, and they are found here, special letters. The first one is written with the letter M with a dot on top. The dot is not underneath, it's on top. So it's not a retroflex. Remember, the dot underneath means it's a retroflex consonant. So this one, the dot is on top, so it's different from that. And it's called the Anusvara character. And I'll let you read along on your own copy there, but this letter closes or nasalizes the preceding vowel as the ON in the French word bon. Similar to that. That's kind of, again, it's just an approximation. I'm using this time an example from the French language, but it's kind of close, but it's, again, just approximation. Now I'm going to read a little bit of a difficult sentence here. Don't worry if you don't understand it. We're going to go into some examples here in a moment. Technically, this Anusvara character should be pronounced as one of the nasal sounds ng, ny, n, or ma. Those are the 5 different nasal sounds, one from each of the 5 different groups of consonants that we covered. It should be pronounced as one of those 5 nasal sounds depending on whether the following consonant is guttural, palatal, retroflex, dental, or labial, respectively. So that sounds like a difficult sentence, but really it's not a difficult concept. It's just saying that when you encounter this Anusvara character, the M with the dot on top of it, right there, when you encounter that character, its pronunciation changes according to context. Now this one, it intentionally changes according to context. It's not an inconsistency in Sanskrit pronunciation. This one is meant to change according to context, and it nasalizes the previous vowel or closes off the previous vowel in a way that matches the form of the following character, the following consonant. And the advantage of that, of closing off or nasalizing the previous vowel in a way that matches the form of the next character, is then you don't have to move your mouth to say the next character. Your mouth is already ending or nasalizing the previous vowel, closing off the previous vowel in a way that leaves it ready to begin the next sound, the next consonant, without having to move again. So some examples hopefully will clarify that. Another little note here, the following consonant doesn't have to be in the same word to affect the Anusvara pronunciation. So even if the following consonant is in the next word, then it still influences the pronunciation of Anusvara the same way as it would if it were in the same word. So here's some examples. Om Mahapadmatavi Sansthayaye Namaha. Om Mahapadmatavi Sansthayaye Namaha. Let me see if you can see that there. I don't know why I gave that whole entire mantra there as an example. Om Mahapadmatavi Sansthayaye Namaha. Really, the only word that we're interested in is this one right here, Sansthayaye. And why? Because there's where the Anusvara is found, the M with the dot on top. And in this case, it's pronounced as just like the dental nasal na, with the tongue touching the back of the teeth, na. And the reason is because the following letter is a sa, sta, as in the word sta, and sa, it turns out, is dental. That means it's pronounced with the tongue touching the back of the teeth. So if the next letter has the tongue touching the back of the teeth, then we want to have the Anusvara forming a nasal in a way that the tongue touches the back of the teeth. Why? Because then we are already in the mouth is already in the correct position for beginning the sa sound as it completes the Anusvara sound, the nasalization sound. So it becomes sanstha. You don't have to close the lips here to make this nasalization, this closing off of sa. It's just san you go directly into the dental nasal. Sanstha. See there? That makes it flow nice and easy with no extra mouth movement here in this nasalization. Sansthaye. Whereas if we were going to make that, say, a labial nasal there, which has the lips closed, a labial nasal means the letter ma. If we were going to do that, then we would have to say samstha. And you will hear some Sanskrit speakers or chanters saying samstha. That's actually an acceptable way to say it also, but it flows easier with less mouth movement, more effortlessly, if you make this into a dental nasal, sun, and then go on to the stha. So it's just sansthaye. So that's the increased efficiency of adapting the Anusvara pronunciation to fit the context in which it's found. In other words, looking to the next letter, the letter that follows the Anusvara, to decide how you should nasalize the vowel with the Anusvara, how you should close off the previous vowel with the Anusvara. And you do it in a way that matches the form of the following consonant. You don't even have to think about what group does the next consonant fall into. Just think about, how am I going to say that next consonant? What position is my mouth going to be in when I say the next consonant? And then just nasalize or close off the vowel with the Anusvara so that your mouth is left in that position for the next consonant. That's all there is to it, really. A couple of notes here. Oh, I'll give another example here. Sanshaya. What is this? Om Sanshayagnyaya Namaha. Om Sanshayagnyaya Namaha. Right there. Om Sanshayagnyaya. The word of interest here is this Sanshaya. Sanshaya. Now here, the next letter following the Anusvara, Anusvara, remember, is the M with the dot on top. The next letter following it in this case is this S with the accent mark over the top, which, remember, is the palatal sibilant sh, as in Shiva, teeth fully closed together, sh, Shiva. So if this one, this sh, has their teeth fully closed together, then we want to nasalize this sa with the Anusvara in a way that leaves the mouth in the position of having the teeth fully closed together, so that we're ready to launch effortlessly and with minimal movement into shaya with this palatal sh. So that would mean that the Anusvara should be formed with the palatal nasal sound, which is nya. You don't hear the nya part of it because it gets cut off when we add the sh here, but that's the nasal sound that actually gets used here, and it becomes sanshaya, sanshaya. So that means that nya, of course, it has the teeth fully closed together, but it does not have the lips closed. So here again, we don't close the lips if we're going to say Anusvara in the technically correct way, which is to adjust its pronunciation according to the letter that follows it. In this case, it's sh, as in Shiva, teeth fully closed together. So it's sanshaya, sanshaya. Hopefully that clarifies that a little bit. One more example, hopefully, will confuse you thoroughly. I mean, completely clarify everything. Bhagavati Mandasmita, right there. Bhagavati Mandasmita. Now here we have the Anusvara at the end of a word, but remember I said that even if the next consonant is in the next word, it still affects how the Anusvara should be formed. You still look to the next consonant to decide how you're going to form the Anusvara, even if it's in the next word. And in this case, the next consonant is ma, which is a labial, and it's formed, of course, with the lips closed. And therefore, we want to make this Anusvara into a labial nasal which is, it turns out, the same letter ma. So this becomes ma also. It turns into ma, and it becomes like a double ma here. So it's Bhagavati Mandasmita. Bhagavati Mandasmita. So your one comes at the end here of Bhagavatim, and then the second comes here with Mandasmita. Becomes a double ma effectively. So this is an example of where the Anusvara changed its pronunciation according to the next letter, which was in the next word. If it's found as the last letter in a sentence, or if the letter following it is a vowel, then it is pronounced as ma, the labial nasal ma. Also, important point here, it is acceptable to always pronounce the Anusvara as the labial ma, regardless of what consonant might follow it. So that, for those of you who have difficulty adjusting the pronunciation of Anusvara to match the position of the next consonant, if you find it difficult to look ahead to to think about how am I going to say the next consonant after the Anusvara, then you are allowed to just always pronounce Anusvara as ma. That's not technically the correct pronunciation, but it is acceptable because many Sanskrit chanters and speakers do say it like that. And there are arguments that that validate that pronunciation as well. So that is the Anusvara character. The other special character I want to cover is called Visarga. And it's simpler to understand. It's written with the English letter H with a dot underneath it, and it's called Visarga. This letter makes an H sound followed by a short, soft echo of the preceding vowel. So an example of that is found in the word that many people have heard, namaha. Namaha. Actually, I should say that with a softer echo. Namaha. Namaha. Namaha is the correct pronunciation. And also, the other example that many people have heard is right there, Shantihi. 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 Can I show that in my mouth at the same time? Shantihi. So it's short and it's soft. Shantihi. When the Visarga, the H with the dot underneath of it, when the Visarga occurs in mid-sentence, it is often so subtle that it is unheard. One should, however, add at least a little extra breath and time gap wherever there is Visarga in mid-sentence. Visarga at the end of a sentence produces a very audible h, followed by a short, soft echo of the preceding vowel. So here's an example of where you see some Visarga characters in mid-sentence, and most of you have heard this phrase here, where you have three shantis in a row, and they all have their Visarga after each one, so you should say, I'm going to let you see my mouth here, it should be spoken like this, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So you're hearing a clear Visarga echo of the preceding vowel on each of the three shantis. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Many times you will only hear the final echo, the final ihi, and not the middle ones. You'll just hear Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. That's not technically correct. You should make a clear Visarga even if it's in mid-sentence. It can be softer than the final one. It can be subtle like this. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And then a little more clear at the end. That's acceptable, but there should be some indication that there's a Visarga even if it's in mid-sentence. Otherwise, you actually change the meaning of the word if you don't include some indication that there's a Visarga there. And if you're actually speaking Sanskrit to someone and expecting them to understand you, and this is actually done in certain villages in India, they actually speak Sanskrit as their primary language. if you're doing that and communicating in Sanskrit, they expect you to make your visargas clear, even if it's in the middle of a sentence, because it changes the meaning of the word if you don't enunciate your visarga clearly. So that concludes the special letters, and next we'll talk about conjunctions of consonants.